getting rid of stuff that your grandmother, grandfather, great-great-grandfather, great-grandmother went through. And unfortunately, there are people in this country who just don't want to hear it anymore. They are exhausted. So we're going to watch some news, some fake news by CNN. That's scene 60. You good. Don't stop it. Bass.
It's the show that will get you thinking, and where the topics are hot. Feel free to comment whether we agree or not, 'cause he's got something to say.
Sirwalterj Jones. Sirwalterj Jones.
He's got something to say. Sirwalterj Jones.
Sirwalterj Jones.
Report live 7 days a week, always on time, but this time is not free. Sirwalterj Jones, always on sleep. Latest trending topics had you jumping out your seat.
He's got something to say.
Come on in, boys. The water is fine.
Hello, everybody. Sirwalterj Jones Show. I'm here. It is the Midday Connection, baby. How you guys? Come in and water fine. Y'all doing all right? It's good to see y'all. I didn't put up an event earlier, so many of the people don't even know we're live. And by the time we get off the air, they'll be like, "Oh, wait a minute, I missed the whole show." I'm sorry, you all, because I was trying to figure things out as I'm back home. I was in Detroit for a day or two, and I had a wonderful time with the bunkers. Some of the bunkers are here from Detroit. We could talk more about that when we get an opportunity. And so did Sheila Mahone change her picture? Is that Sheila Mahone? Go on, girl, you changed your picture. Look at you. Look at her. Where am I? Oh yeah, the whitewashing. That right there. So I am not surprised, and none of you should be surprised at the whitewashing of American history, not just African American history. Okay. So I want to play a video here.
You feel for all those parents there. Okay, Morgan, we thank you for the story. Now to those new comments from President Trump accusing the Smithsonian of bashing America, including focusing on how bad slavery was instead of the country's successes. It's sparking backlash tonight. Here's Gabe Gutierrez.
Tonight, President Trump is escalating his war against what he calls the last remaining segment of woke, accusing the Smithsonian of being out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future.
We want the museums to talk about the history of our country in a fair manner, not in a woke manner or in a racist manner.
A different tone than his first term when he toured the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture.
This museum is a beautiful tribute to so many American heroes.
In May, NBC News found at least 32 artifacts that were once on display at that museum had been removed. That came after the president signed an executive order in March saying the Smithsonian was influenced by a divisive race-centered ideology that portrays American and Western values as inherently harmful and oppressive. Attorney Lindsay Halligan is leading the White House review.
We're just hoping to keep things positive and focus on America's 250th birthday.
But the president's comment about slavery drawing backlash.
That someone says something like that, is downright offensive. And to a great extent, I think it's evil.
While among tourists in D.C. today, mixed reactions.
I'm open to every entity undergoing a review.
They're not too woke. They honestly speak the truth about this country's history.
The Smithsonian did not respond to a request for comment. 62% of its funding comes from the federal government.
62.
Gabe
Wow.
Gutierrez, Gabe, thank you. We'll turn now to the man who found out just how dangerous sharks.
62% of the fundings come from the government, which is alarming, and they can pull their fundings back like they did PBS, public broadcast, and other things that they fund. They pull it back. Elections have consequences, as y'all know. No, my screen is not spinning. I think yours is. Code, it's good to see you. So I was watching that, and I said to myself, ain't this something? Didn't he approve the opening in his first administration? Didn't he walk through there? I know I saw him there at the museum. I know I saw him there. So they're not removing things from the Holocaust Museum? Come on, Jamila. Why is slavery constantly attacked, but we must always remember the Holocaust? Just saying. Y'all, that's my little sister right there. Oh, man. Well, I tell you, I was watching fake news. That's what Trump calls it. And they did a little piece on it. And let's see. Here's what a former slave was saying.
You know what I'd rather do? If I thought that I'd ever be a slave again, I'd take a gun and just end it all right away. Because you're nothing but a dog.
Ouch.
You're not a thing but a dog.
Ooh. Ain't nothing but a dog. Wow.
With our panel, Leah Wright-Rigueur, I was actually surprised to see President Trump basically saying the quiet part out loud, that this review of the Smithsonian is not about even just something vague about reviewing history to make sure that it's fair. He wants to make it so that it talks less about slavery. What does that say to you?
Well, I think it's an effort. It's part of a larger effort to both sane-wash and whitewash American history, and essentially erase all of the parts and disappear all of the parts that make Americans, that make President Trump uncomfortable, that feel distasteful, that are a reflection of the actual real and horrific parts of our history. And I find it a little ironic. You know, earlier today, as I was listening to some of the commentary, my first thought was, wait a second. I wonder if the president has actually ever visited any of the Smithsonian museums. And then I remembered that in 2017, he actually took a tour of the National Museum of African American History and Culture.
Let me just play actually what he said during that tour. Listen to this.
I had the privilege of visiting the National Museum of African American History and Culture right here in Washington, D.C. It's a new, beautiful Smithsonian museum that serves as a shining example of African Americans' incredible contributions to our culture, our society, and our history. It also tells of the great struggle for freedom and equality that prevailed against the sins of slavery and the injustice of discrimination. The work and love of the people who helped create such a masterpiece is a testament to the legacy of so many leaders it honors.
He called it a masterpiece. Did y'all hear him say that? And he mentioned the sin of slavery, the horribleness, the effects that it had on human beings. That was Donald J. Trump in his first administration. What changed? And not what changed him, who changed him? Number two, was it a change? Or was he just blowing smoke up your behinds when he read from the teleprompter? Because men like this don't change. Men like this is the same, no matter where. It's just that this is all about states' rights. Oh man, what was I watching? Strom Thurmond was a segregationist. And he served in in Congress more than anybody, the longest, about 50 years almost. He basically died as a congressman. He retired, and a few months later he was dead. Maybe a year or two later he was dead. He died at 100 years old, but he served in Congress for over 90-something years. I mean, he didn't serve in Congress. I mean, he was 90-something years old when he finally left Congress. And I tell you, it is amazing how the history, that's right, Strom Thurmond was South Carolina. It was amazing how history they're trying to bury history. Many of you have never heard, maybe not you, but your children, had never heard of Black Wall Street. You never heard of it. You didn't even know that thing that happened down there in Tulsa. I heard about it when I was a teenager. When I first heard about it, and I was shocked. And then I assumed that everybody knew about it. As I got older, I realized a lot of black people in my circle knew nothing about it. And what they did was, not only did the whites try to cover it, blacks did too. It was embarrassing. So when I would go down there to Tulsa, I was down there, I knew about Black Wall Street, but the people who lived in Tulsa didn't know about it. And I was shocked. Sirwalterj was once voted as slave of the day. That was good. You know, that was actually out of all of his bits. That was the best one. He's such a hypocrite. He makes my stomach hurt. I know, man. He makes more than my stomach hurt. Y'all know I'm sitting on something, right? Don't let me pull it out. I haven't pulled it out in a while. So Strom and many of the Dixiecrats and whom he created, the South voted, especially black people, when they were voting for Republic. They were voting for conservative Republic. Okay, it wasn't until Franklin Delano Roosevelt gave us this the New Deal, and African Americans began to jump on the Democratic train, but not a whole bunch of them. A lot of them, but not all of them. So we were actually voting Democrat and Republic. Most of you who your grandfathers are, your grandfather more than likely voted Republic. All right, not your father. Yeah, what some of the bunkers here are in their 80s. So your father might have voted Republic. Maybe you did, since you were in your 80s. All right, that was just something that you did. It wasn't until the Kennedy wasn't really for African Americans, because he knew he needed the Southern vote. He needed it bad. And it wasn't until the attack, and especially the attack on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, when they began to really change the trajectory there, and they were fighting against this atrocity towards African Americans and the blocking of civil rights opportunities. Kennedy jumped in and he risked. As a matter of fact, when he did jump in, a few months later he was dead. Now we don't know if he died because of his stands on African American civil rights, or because Cuba, or or because Marilyn Monroe. We don't know. All right. And I know Trump just released no, he didn't. Did he do the Kennedy files? With the Kennedy files and the Dr. King files, but Jeffrey Epstein, no, leave that one alone. That's who Donald Trump is. And so the Strom Thurmonds and the Dixiecrats and those, even Richard Nixon, they all ran on one platform, and that was states' rights, which is a dog whistle. It is a way, and Ronald Reagan became who he was because of that. You've got to say things that speak to that community of people. They knew what that meant when you would say states' rights. And there was another term that was used, and Wyrick, the name Wyrick, was the one who's responsible for a lot of this. The campaign leader, he rallied the white evangelicals to get out there and vote. And then Thomas Road Baptist Church, who gave us Liberty University, which Ron Pringle graduated from. Gerald Falwell gave us the moral majority, and again, moral majority, states' rights, and these other little dog whistles were a rallying cry for racists to come together and stop African Americans from coming up. This is why in the 1800s, I mean, after slavery happened, the troops were sent down to the South to help blacks, former slaves, to vote. And it was going well until the North decided that they were putting too much emphasis on the Southern strategy was the other word I was looking for. So states' rights and Southern strategies, these are all dog whistles, okay? Using buck, using the word thug, okay? Hombre, using words like that basically spoke to the white audience. And then right now, DEI is a way of speaking. So instead of creating words, they use the words that you all created, because the word woke was created by African Americans, basically. If we didn't create it, we capitalized on it, all right? Woke. Then it became a liberal thing, and it became a democratic thing, and it was a word that was used by conservatives to spank us. And then you all came up with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then it became a word to spank us. They don't have to create words like Southern strategy or states' rights. They don't have to do that anymore. You create the word, and we're going to use your words against you to keep you down. That is the strategy. And when you don't understand how the devil works, if you don't understand the spiritual warfare that's happening in your life, outside of this politics and what have you, the devil can use that as well. But there's a spiritual warfare that's going on, and you got to know the devil's hand. You got to know the devil's play. All right. So this is why scripture says, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee. This is why the apostle Paul says to put on the full, not just certain pieces of armor. He said to put on the full armor of God, so you can fight against this. All right. And be careful of the many wiles, the wiles of the tricks of the devil. And he uses, the devil doesn't use the world to get you. He used that which is familiar. Young men and young women who are attacked through sexual assaults and what have you, typically they are attacked by somebody they know. It's an uncle, it's an auntie, it's a friend, it could be a parent, it's the pastor, it's the deacon. All right. And so these are tricks and wiles. And so he wrote in Ephesians chapter 4 about the being tossed and being pulled by every wind of doctrine. These doctrines are used in our churches to get us to do whatever the devil wants, because the devil is not afraid of your church. He's not afraid of your pastor. He's not afraid of the evangelists in your church. He's not afraid of the prophets in your church. When Jesus was doing what he was doing, he walked into the temple and the devil was there. So you have to understand, if the devil starts many of these churches, he's the one that created these churches. Many of these denominations were created by Satan himself. All right. So these diverse doctrines, you have to know the play, the hand. You got to know where, okay? You have to know it. And this is the same way when it comes to politics. You understand? So these doctrines of devils, Don Hunter, is very prominent in our churches and in our homes and in our politics as well. You understand? Let's talk about how many African queens and kings fought against the Arabs and European settlers. Yes. Let's also mention the Ethiopian crushed the Italian soldiers when Italy attempted to colonize them. Come on, give us that history, Jamila. You better give us that history. I love it. I love talking to that young lady. I talked to her on the phone, her and her husband. They gave me a nephew. and the nephew listens to the Sirwalterj Jones show faithfully. The nephew, little bitty baby. And whenever my show come on, she tells me he's so calm. He doesn't cry. He just loves Uncle Sir's voice. It just blesses me. It blesses me. All right, so as I'm watching this, they go into some banter because CNN likes to fight. I'm careful, and I need you to be careful too. When you watch one source of news, don't get pulled in by the rhetoric, because they'll pull you into some unhealthy, immoral things as well. So I watch MSNBC, and I eat the meat and spit out the bone. I watch CNN and do the same thing. And then I watch Fox and I do the same thing. There is some meat there and I spit out the bone. So they have people on this panel on CNN, and CNN act like they're in the middle, but they're not. They're very liberal, obviously. Now, I'm glad that they do bring on conservatives and Republicans on the show, but they only do that because they want them to fight. That's the only reason why CNN do what they do. They bring in that diversity so that they could fight. See, he will listen later after his nap. I love that little boy. All right.
So was it that he didn't believe what he
read
from the teleprompter as he recorded that video, or what?
You know, I'm really struggling to understand in a lot of ways, particularly given that the tour that he took with director Lonnie Bunch was actually a reflection of really the mastery that and really the care and the patience that historians, that scholars, that curators put into the Museum of African American History and Culture. It is not just about the horrors of slavery, although it tells that very important story. It actually follows this really brilliant model where you move through the museum and it tells the story not just of enslaved Americans in America, but also of the resilience, of the triumph. And in doing so, it tells a story that is very much about democracy and about a quest for democracy and the way that Americans both built this country, but also the story and the narrative of like a truly American experience. And so for the president, I think, to just simply erase that and push that away tells it, particularly after praising it a few years ago, tells us that this is part of a much larger agenda. This is part of a much larger agenda to erase things that really, I think the country is just refuses to deal with and is really uncomfortable with.
He said as much by ending this post with, "This country cannot be woke because woke is broke." He says we have to have the hottest country in the world.
The hottest country in the world, all right? And you have to be careful to watch something that pulls, again, the enemy of mine enemy is my friend. This is how Hitler came to power, is because the German people did not like the same people that Hitler did not like. And so they needed somebody like a straw man. They needed a strong man to pile up with them, to join forces with them temporarily to fight against whom they don't like, and then they're done. But then they begin to fall in love with this man. This is why you have to be careful to separate yourself. When God established the Jewish people, his children, he told them not to marry strange women, not to dive into paganistic things, and not to use utensils that was offered to idols and all these things, because once you pile up with them, once you become friends with them, once you marry them, you become them. This is how This is how Solomon got caught up in his mess, because he was messing around with the queen of Sheba. He was messing around with the pagan women. All right, and that's right. Catholic Strom Thurmond did have a black daughter that he hid for a long time, and she eventually she passed, I believe, and they made a pact not to tell the people, that he had one. Now his friends knew that he had a black daughter. Matter of fact, she was the woman that he was messing with during Jim Crow. He got her pregnant, and then he basically took her, and he got her pregnant, and they continued to become a couple in a sense. It reminded me of the story of Jacob's daughter, his only daughter, Dinah. Dinah was taken advantage of by the prince of was it Shechem, right? And he defiled her, scripture says, and then he falls in love with her. All right, and then he asked for her hand in marriage, and the brothers was peed off, and that's why they went over there and killed everybody. All right, so Strom, and what he did was typical of whites back then. They were racist, but they had babies, and they had these secret babies with their own slaves. And if there wasn't their slave, they were black people. These white men enjoyed the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. S.C. Williams. Thank you, Just a Woman. All right. And so this kind of history has been hidden from us. And so I was talking about, what was I talking about? I was talking about Tulsa and how it was hidden. And one reason why it was easy to be hidden because they covered it. And then urban renewal came through our cities and destroyed what was left of segregated America. Segregation wasn't as bad for us as y'all talk. As a matter of fact, even Martin Luther King, who was fighting for segregation, desegregation, talked about how he led his people into a burning building. He talked about the dream, his dream. I have a dream. He said it was a nightmare. He gave the dream speech in 60, when was that, y'all? 63, was it? I don't remember. By 68, he was talking about, I'm sorry, I didn't really mean that. And so segregation was good for a lot of black communities. That's how we got Black Wall Street, and not just Tulsa, but in many other cities and towns here in Chicago. Bronzeville, where my radio station was a result of segregation and how we came together because we did not rely on no one but ourselves. We relied on ourselves, which forced us to build things that we needed, like banks and construction companies. And I remember this neighborhood I'm living in right now. I was born in 66, not far from here, in what's called K-Town. And then we moved here. Thank you, Elaine Williams, 63. And then we moved on this street here that I'm on right now in 66. And I remember the black doctor coming to the house. All right. We had a black doctor who did house calls. Our dentist was black. Our grocer up the street was black. Our carpenters were black, obviously. My father was a carpenter, so, you know, I saw black people. It was far-fetched to see any white people in my neighborhood. And this was in the early 70s, you all. And so there are still communities, even in Atlanta, Georgia, where everything is black. I went to Madonna, where I met Cody, Rogers, Sheila, So Unique. You know, I met quite a few there. And when you drive up and down Madonna, Georgia, you see black folks everywhere. Black folks taking care of black folks. And the HOIs, blacks, you know, the communities, very strong. And I was kind of shocked to see that when I first visited Madonna. I was shocked because I didn't see a lot of that in Chicago, as big as it is and as segregated as Chicago still is. Our neighborhoods we didn't have many black businesses in our neighborhoods. We don't, that is. We used to, but not anymore. So as I lived in the town, Chicago, we don't have towns. We have what's called neighborhoods. We have 77 neighborhoods in Chicago. They have various names. It's still Chicago, but they're called neighborhoods. That was the point I was trying to make when I was in London, England. I was in Stratford or wherever that place was, and I was talking about Stratford is not London. Somebody said it is London. Well, it is London, but it's a neighborhood, all right, of London. For instance, Paris, France. Paris is not France. Geographically, Paris is France. But if you think you're going to go to France and you go to Paris, that's not France. Paris is a melting pot of people from all around the world. It is one big tourist town. That's what Paris is. But if you want to enjoy France and its culture, its rich culture, don't go to Paris. Go outside of Paris. I didn't stay in Paris. I stayed in a neighborhood or town outside of Paris. I'm glad I did because I saw real France. You understand? Chicago. When people come to Chicago, they like to go downtown Chicago. people, tourists go downtown and they say, "Oh, I love Chicago." I tell them that ain't Chicago. Downtown is not Chicago. Go into the hood. Go into the Hispanic areas. Go in to the black. Go into Austin. Go into Roseland. Go into Pullman. Go into Inglewood. All right. Yes, you might get shot. Okay. But you go there for culture, for music, for food. All right, you go there. That's the real Chicago. Downtown is not Chicago. It's a bubble. It's protected, and so that's the way Paris is. Paris. Paris. Did I say Paris? Paris is just everybody there. But leave Paris. Go to the places where you can see the beauty of France. All right, and so you've got to know what you're looking at. So urban renewal came through and buried the rich history of African Americans and the struggle. That's right. Grand Crossing, Hyde Park. I was trying to get there. I was trying my best. Thank you, Mill. I was trying my best to find out some other names. That said, don't go to O Block. Yes. I went to South Side and Chinatown, a Korean and Indian. Yes, you understand. Man, I'm trying to remember what town I stayed in France. It was so beautiful, the cobblestone streets and the people who were speaking French. Not half French, not some French. It was straight. I mean, those were the locals. And the food was different. Even the Coca-Cola was different. Coca-Cola over there is different than Coca-Cola over here. Coca-Cola over here, there's some fructose, some then they added something here. Over there, that's sugar. That's straight sugar cane sugar. Somebody went in the backyard and pulled out the sugar cane and poured it in there and put something in there. That's some real Coca-Cola. All right. So, oh yeah, by the way, this is Jamelia. This is them. Look at him. That's my nephew, y'all. That's my nephew. Look at him. I told you I was going to show y'all. I told you I was going to show. And look at my teeth. Look at it. I'm smiling from ear to ear. That's my family, y'all. That's my family. That is the great father. God bless him. I pray for this young man. I believe the Lord has sent him to her and connected them the way they did. And I believe it with the knowledge that's coming out of that house, that so many people are going to be blessed by their ministry. All right. I just thought I'd do a side note right there because I love families. Love families, y'all. I took my daughter on a date last night. Where was it? I took her to go see the MJ musical, and we had such a beautiful, wonderful time. I miss my time with my daughter. We haven't had a daddy-daughter's date in a long time. Because she got babies now and she's moving and what have you. And but that's us right there. That's the MJ behind us, and we just was having a great time. I recorded some footage, and I'm gonna edit and maybe put it on Patreon. All right. But that's my baby. She'll always be. When I'm in Atlanta, I do the same for my son. We go out somewhere and do something. Yeah, the Coke chased me in France. All right. So
we want people to talk about it, including our museums. Why is he equating talking about slavery with woke?
Well, look, I think, let me just start this conversation by saying that my personal view is slavery was a reprehensible institution. Now,
they typically bring him on. He's a usual. What you call him? He's part of the staff there. He's a pundit. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but he's always there. They bring him on so that they can fight. He's a staunch Republican. He's a Trumpster all the way, and he getting paid just to fight. So we get caught up in a lot of this stuff here. And say, hey, man, you right, girl, you right, you girl right. And then she'll bring up some stuff that you know you don't agree with, but you'll still say, girl, you right. Because, again, we have the same enemy. Yes, there was a lot of Creole spoken there. The church I attended to, the community, they were Haitians, and so they spoke Creole in French. And sometimes the translator had to switch from French to Creole when I was talking. Yeah, Scott Jennings, Nicole.
I agree with your words that it was our original sin. We also fought a war to eradicate it and to get over it as a country. And that was a necessary thing that happened, and a lot of people died, and we did eradicate it, and that's a good thing. I think what he's asking is, in our museums, what defines us? Are we going to be defined by the worst moment or the worst institution or the worst mistake we ever made? Or are we going to be defined by what we've done moving forward to get over it and to become the greatest nation on the earth? My belief is that he wants to look at these museums, not because he wants to do away with the idea that slavery occurred, but that he wants to ask a very simple question. Are we going to present ourselves as being exceptional or not? And I think he believes there is an effort by some to continue to try to define us from our worst moment instead of to try to focus and define us based on our best moments, which started when we eradicated slavery.
And the problem here is that they didn't hear the first woman, not the host, when she was talking about when you go to that museum. I went to D.C. I stood in front of the museum, and I was getting ready to go in, but I looked at my watch and I realized we had been in D.C. long enough, and I needed to get back to Baltimore. It was Ron Pringle with me and our dear brother Michael Bowie, who did the driving. He was military all the way. He had 2 guns on 2 rifles, machine guns on his Hummer, and we going down there to the DC Mall. I'm like, man, Negro, you crazy? You gonna get us all put in jail? And he had his badge and everything, and he said, listen, if you all want to go into the museum and for a tour, he said, I got you. And I told him no, because time was of an essence. I had seen all of the monuments, and I got my video, and but I said I'm gonna come back and you got to spend hours at the museum. But if you heard what she said there's a journey from the time you walk in all the way towards. It gives you the journey of the struggles and the heartaches and the trauma all the way into how African Americans came out and came up. And that is the American experience, not just African American experience, not black experience. It's the American history. And Trump went through that museum in his first administration and praised it, called it brilliant. So it's amazing how somebody got to him. The decision that Trump made of going down there and checking the books of this museum is not Trump. It's somebody else whispering in his ear. That's why they call him Taco. That's the reason why they call him Taco, y'all. Trump always changes his mind. Mm-hmm. He always chickens out. All right, that's what Taco is. And then this woman gives, she pees off the panel.
Of history that it's in these museums, but he's focused on one thing, and that is that there's too much slavery being mentioned in the United States of America. That's very odd, Batia, honestly.
So I want to start by saying I actually agree with everything that's been said, and I loved your opening, and so I offer these comments very humbly because it's an honor to be included in this conversation, which is very solemn, and I think we all understand that, and we are all looking for the common ground here. And so what I'm about to say, I don't mean in any way to negate that tone, but
when somebody comes out the gate by saying that, they getting ready to negate the tone. When anybody sets you up like that, I love everybody. Everybody is beautiful. Your skin is so brown and so lovely. There are no blemishes or blushes or no moles on your face. You black people are so beautiful. I love your culture. Your music is amazing. I know I clap on the 1 and the 3. But God made me that way. But you all clap on the 2 and the 4, and I envy you. Oh, it's just amazing how your teeth is so. You can see your teeth when you all. And then they say stuff they don't know that they're offending. You know, when it's really dark outside and when you all smile, we can see your teeth. It's amazing how you shine a light in darkness so that we all can see as we're walking down the street. I tell my black friend all the time when we're walking in the dark alley, smile. And then there's a beautiful bright light. She thinks she's buttering y'all up. And I love your hair. Your hair is like I have a wool brush. I have a brush, and we have sheep in the back, and we take that and we, you all's hair is like, well, can I touch it? Let me touch that. Let me feel that hair. Wow. It's so beautiful. It's really a shame that your father's. Do you have a father? Is your father at home? You have a father? I heard you all daddies don't hang around that much. And he went off to get some cigarettes and he never came home. I be praying for you all. It's just something different about your culture. Me and my husband, we have a jail ministry. And when we go in there, it's a whole bunch of black people there, boys there. And I just want you all to know that we care for them. Matter of fact, we went over to Haiti and we adopted three. I love black people. It's a shame what the government has done to you. It's really a shame. Hey, you know R. Kelly? When I lived in South Dakota, Houston, when I lived in South Dakota, they kept bringing up people who was either in prison or who went to jail or who got charged with some kind of molesting. And they meet me for the first time. And because I'm black, couldn't say timekeeper. And because I'm black, they're like, have you ever met Bill Cosby? Bill Cosby, he was married. He was America's dad. I'm like, yeah. I know. No, I've never met Bill Cosby. Oh, okay. What about R. Kelly? Do you know R. Kelly? Why the hell? Why you got to bring up these people? Why you got to bring up those people? Huh? Why couldn't you ask me if I ever met Elvis Presley? Jerry Lee Lewis? Huh? Why? Oh, did we offend you? No, you didn't offend me. No, I'm good. I'm good, Karen. I'm good. How did you know my name was Karen? I can tell. I can tell by your question. You think I'm Boo Boo the Food. And so this is the way they are, y'all. If you ain't got no white friends, you wouldn't understand. So here she is.
Starting around 2011, 2012, sociologists started to notice a shift in white liberal opinion polling to where white progressives became more extreme in their views on race than black and Hispanic Americans. And they called this, the sociologists called it the Great Awakening. And when they postulated, where did this come from? Why did white progressives suddenly start obsessing over race in a way that was actually far to the left of where Hispanic and black Americans were on this issue? They found that the media had shifted radically how it talked about these issues. So for example, in 2010, the words white supremacy were mentioned 75 times in the Washington Post and the New York Times.
But the media is different from museums.
In 2020, the words white supremacy were mentioned 700 times in the Washington Post and the New York Times and 2,400 times in NPR. The word racism 4,000 times in 2020. The words white and racial privilege from 2013 to 2019 grew by 1,500% in the New York Times and the Washington Post. And the word slavery itself exponentially skyrocketed as a percentage of words. I'm offering this only to suggest,
I understand. I'm just
to
wondering
suggest
what What do you think is the problem with talking about slavery, white supremacy, racism, etc.?
So the point I'm trying to make here is that liberals will say, well, this is a reflection of reality, but of course it isn't. This is a reflection of a newfound obsession that was driven by the media, and that doesn't reflect either the moral evil of these things or the historical accuracy.
I do want to dive into what you mean by that, because you say that you don't think it's a reflection of reality. Based on what?
Well,
based on the idea that those things don't exist, that white supremacy doesn't
that
exist, racism doesn't exist, that we shouldn't be talking about it anymore?
Based on the idea, obviously all these things I think are evil, but there's not more slavery now to the tune of
but I think part of the problem,
1,500% than there was
Batya, is that
And there, right there. She came in saying, I love all of you. I love your white teeth and your woolly hair and your smooth skin. And you're clapping on the 2 and the 4. And your jive. Y'all are cool. I love the way you play the ball. I love the way you hoop. I love the way you run. That Jesse Owens, ooh, he just excites me. Is he still alive? He's like how Trump said about Harriet Tubman, not Harriet Tubman. Who was that? Frederick Douglass. Remember in his first administration, he was honoring Frederick Douglass as if Frederick Douglass was still alive. And when he got through with his speech, and he says, and I believe that Frederick Douglass will be even greater. As time goes by, he'll do even greater works. Black people like, Mr. President, you know Frederick Douglass died like 900 years ago, right? He didn't know who Frederick Douglass is. So she's doing all of that. And she says, so what I'm getting ready to say, I'm hoping we'll keep the peace in the room. And then what did she do? She brought up all of the stats that caused everybody to say, yo, you got to know who you going to pick. Right? Jesse looking like he ready to cross over. I mean, watch it. Let me rewind that. Hold on. Watch how the room just explodes.
As you say that you don't think it's a reflection of reality. Based on what?
Well, slavery,
based on the idea that those things don't exist, that white supremacy doesn't exist, racism doesn't exist, that we shouldn't be talking about it anymore?
Based on the idea, obviously all these things I think are evil, but there's not more slavery now to the tune of...
but I think part of the problem,
1,500% than there was...
is that
respectfully, that's not...
Everybody started talking about that. She said something. Did she say what she said? She said that. She said that. Now, a couple of days ago, then this other white woman got in trouble by saying that only 2%, was it 2% of white people owned slaves back then? Did y'all see that? Huh? Well, I need to find that video, y'all, because I was shocked. I was shocked and appalled. Her name was Jillian Michaels, I think it was. I was shocked. Let me see. Was this right here? Is this it here?
So for any fucking person.
Ooh. Oh my. The language. Exhibit does. Okay, let me find somebody else because y'all cussing.
2% of white people had slaves.
Okay, he gonna play it? Yeah, here it is right here. Did y'all see that?
In those conversations. They don't care. That's a black child of them. Now, keep that in mind, okay? Keep that picture in mind when you listen to this clip. Now, I want to play this clip from CNN with the same woman, Jillian Michaels, in it. Pay attention. Remember that picture, right? Listen to what she has to say.
To make sure it comports with Dear Leader and what the MAGA
organization
wants.
Can we address some of those things that are in there? Because have you looked at some of the things that are being reviewed?
Yeah, slavery was a bad thing that was to talk about.
Okay.
Like,
he's not whitewashing slavery. So
he's not?
He's not. No,
okay.
He's not. And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does. But let's talk about the fact that when you look at let's talk about the fact
slavery in America was.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans own slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
White people were
Do you know
the slave
who
owners.
was the first race to try to end slavery? Well, what's controversial?
I'm very surprised.
This is an extraordinary exercise in historical revisionism.
I'm really surprised.
Do you realize that
Jillian, I'm surprised that you're trying to litigate who was the beneficiary of slavery and
I'm
who
not.
was not.
What I'm trying to tell you is
in
that
the context of American history. Okay. In the context of American history, what are you saying is incorrect by saying that it was white people oppressing black people?
Every single thing is like, oh, no, this is all because white people bad. And that's just not the truth. Like, for example, every single exhibit, I have a list of every single one. Like, people migrated from Cuba because white people bad. Not because of Castro. Yes, no, it's in there. That's what I'm saying. You don't actually know what's in there. Do you know that when you walk in the front door, the first thing you see is the gay flag?
Jillian, you have a lot of stuff in front of you.
Yeah, I do,
what
because
exactly
I don't, because here's the thing.
Are you talking about?
Okay, it's just like you're trying to do to me now.
Excuse me?
It's like, I can't believe you're trying to suggest, that slavery
just to
is
be
a good
clear,
thing.
you brought up race.
No,
this was a conversation about the arts, and you brought up race.
It isn't.
You brought up.
But the whole point of this is that the issue
you brought up slavery, and you brought up the question of whether. You brought up the question of whether or not slavery in the United States is about race. The answer is yes.
Of course. I did not say
in the United States
don't
is
straw man my argument
race.
because that's not what I said.
So what are you
brought
talking
up
about?
slavery. And what I was talking about is that this isn't really about that. When you make every single exhibit about white imperialism when it isn't relevant at all, that is a problem. So when you're talking about Cubans leaving Cuba and you make it about white people bad, that's not accurate.
Can I just say,
that's my point.
All right, we're going to move on from that.
Now you see why.
Y'all remember when Whoopi Goldberg on The View said that the Holocaust was not about race? Can y'all tell me what happened to Whoopi? Can y'all tell me what happened to her? It was so bad that she had to apologize and had to go through training. Had to go through training. A historian, a Jewish historian, had to train her. Elaine said she got slayed. Sure did. They put her on timeout. They told her, you can't come here until you get this right. She almost got fired for saying something so outrageous as to say that it was not about race. That is too bold of ignorance to say that. So can I ask y'all another question? Because we're talking about the colonizer. That guy from the Caucasoid Mountain, he came down. And let me tell you, Great Britain was one of the most powerful nations as far as colonizing is concerned. They owned almost all the world. They were like Babylonia from the time of the early days of antiquity with the Jewish Empire. The Israelite Empire, not the Jewish Empire. We say Jew, but it's Hebrew. They were Hebrew. Jew is another word like Negro. Jew is from Judah. Okay. And to say that you are anti-Semite is to take you back to Noah's boy, Shem. Right? So Shem, Semites, Jew, Judah, but they were Hebrew. I am a Hebrew of the Hebrews. You'll understand. So let me ask y'all a question. Slavery was mostly, yes, obviously in the South. Cotton became king. Slavery built the South. But it also helped to build the North. All right. But let me ask y'all a question. What I was about to use the word positive. I probably can still use the word positive. What great things, let's put it that way, what great things came out of owning a human being in America? Can you put that in the comment section so I can read it to the people who may be young and don't understand the effects of slavery? Can y'all put in the comment section the effects of slavery? Matter of fact, give me the good and the bad. And give me some institutions that became because of slavery. And we can end the show by putting it on the screen. The bronze statues, the tribal outfits, etc. Britain still refuses to return the Africans. Yep, it's on the loan. That's gangster. How you going to steal something and then out, Yeah, I went through the Buckingham Palace. And as I was walking through those, that opulence and that red carpet and all of that furniture in there, I kept thinking about Africans. I kept thinking about, wow, all this was stolen. All right, Mills says the stock exchange came out of slavery. Generational wealth, absolutely. HBCUs, hello. It went from the physical to the mental. Anybody else? You said nothing good for black folks, economic gain for white folks. Well, I can kind of debate that. Money, yes. Land, yes. Diversity in ownership, wealth, power, yes. Slavery helped to build and create generational wealth for one race and diminished, yes. Financial opportunity for African Americans, yes. I'm from Louisiana. I drove on brick streets that was laid by slaves. Wow. Gave the plantation owners wealth, land, stock market, slave trade, agriculture, yes. Generational slavery, redlining. White families had greater economic advantages. My family's still catching up financially, yes. Queen Elizabeth died. My granny said hell has enlarged itself for her grand entrance. Wow. Man, y'all kind of smart. Y'all kind of smart. Hey, Tony. Yes. Many banks right up here in the north. Many of the white institutions, the PWIs. I went to Yale University and I looked up and I saw the wealth of that place when blacks were not allowed to walk the campus. And I saw all of the wealth there. Harvard University. Many of the colleges and high schools. All right. Many of the inventions, they were stolen. Yeah, y'all got it. Positive effects. Christ sees our pain and will bring proper justice for all that put their trust in him. Also, my family was made stronger. See, why that? My little sister, I tell you, she kind of smart. She almost there. I live in West Texas, and the bricks on Broadway were placed by slaves. Linda, you just said something I didn't even know. O.B. Gine Field was built off black women being tortured and killed for experiments. You see? This is good. Stockholm Syndrome still exists in slavery to this day. As a fact that the prisons are full of people working as a slave. That's right, Robin. You got it. Regarding the opulence of Europe is what Trump wants to do with the White House. Yes. Somebody sent me, Roger, was that you who sent me the difference between an Obama White House and Trump's White House, the Oval Office? He has recreated it into his gold palace like the Trump Tower in New York. He made the White House a gold palace, and he claims it's because that's what the people want. He's recreating a ballroom there, spending millions on it. Why? Because he said that's what the people want. He got rid of Obama's garden, Michelle's garden, and he paved it. The rose garden. Plucked up the roses. And then he had the nerve to go on the roof. No president has ever been so stupid to go up on the roof of the White House. And they're like, hey, fool, what you doing up there? He's like, I see. This is what the people want. You know how dangerous is he was easy target, and he drove the Secret Service crazy. He said, this is my money, and I'm putting my money to use. He said, this is my money. That's right. SCLC, NAACP, ACLU. That's it. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Come on. Nebuchadnezzar looked out and said, look what I built. And Louetta, Cody, can you tell me what happened to Nebi after he did that? What did God do to him? God didn't kill him. I know y'all looking for God to murder folks. No, God didn't kill him. What did God do to Nebuchadnezzar? Huh? Can y'all tell me what he did to him? He working to get rid of our museums. Yes. He working hard, which means African Americans are going to have to come together and prove how strong you are financially. We all are going to have to support that institution with our monies, 100%. Because if he had his way in the next 4 years, that museum is going to be shut down. So I got $5. What y'all got? He ate grass like a crazy man. Come on, y'all know it. Y'all know it, man. Y'all got it. Caused him to go crazy. Yeah. He was on all fours. So that kind of pride, God's going to get so tired. He's going to get sick and tired of this man. Yeah. He lost his rabbit mind. All right, y'all. I think I've upset you Republicans long enough. They coming, y'all. They coming. They coming after me. I just felt like I just want to talk about our president for a minute. And I'm going to do one more show, and then I'm going to be done with the president for a while. I'm going to be done with him like I did before. The last time I talked about Trump was, it was many months ago. I ain't fooled with him because I got other things to do. All right, I got to teach the Bible. And every now and then I check to see what Global Impact going to say about Corey Myers. And let's see what Pastor Rod is going to say about Global Impact. The triangle trade. That's what I call it. Where Corey at now with his funny jokes? Huh? Where you at, Corey? Where you at with your funny jokes? You bald-headed Philistine. Where you at, man? I turn on YouTube just to see who's going to attack you next. He always getting in trouble. Every time he open his mouth, because Corey go live every 12 seconds. Every time he open his mouth, somebody gonna do a show on him. And say, now this ain't a beef. Now I love Corey. It's the great setup, like this white woman. Roger said, let's go home. The white woman said, now I love your skin. Your teeth, so white. And black people's breath never stink. It just smells like Febreze. And your wool hair, and your beautiful dark and gray beards, and your slender look. I come bearing peace. Bearing peace. Now, after all I just said, why are you black people on public aid? Why are all the black people in America on public aid, huh? Why? Why is there so much crime in your neighborhood? All right, let me hit the music, okay? Because I done run out. I ate lunch. I did, Nicole. I did have lunch, but I think it wasn't enough. It was 4 chicken wings. I don't think it was enough. So now I got to go and eat another lunch. I I got to go eat another lunch just take care of the lunch that I just ate. Y'all, I it's the Calvinist turn. Jay be going after everybody. I mean, I ain't never met nobody like that. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I ain't doing not one show about the SDA. Nope. Don't y'all send me no questions about SDA. Nope. I ain't saying nothing. And I'm gonna just preach the gospel and shut my foul mouth. Y'all, I guess I'm gonna have to bring this Patreon. But I'm blessed because I don't know if I should do this. What time is it? It's 3:50. This might have to go on Patreon. I better go on Patreon with this. I don't want him getting in no trouble. So I'm gonna do it on Patreon. You all are gonna be shocked about what I'm getting ready to say. All right. So I'm gonna go on Patreon. I gotta go on Patreon in a few minutes and teach Romans chapter 6, I think. All right, I think I did the outline. I'm gonna go in there and teach it. All right, so stay tuned tonight. I couldn't do it because I was in Detroit, but then I'm gonna do another video talk about the phone call I got. It was encouraging. I can't do it here because I don't want to embarrass somebody. So go to Patreon and be looking out either tonight or tomorrow. All right, tomorrow morning. So I went to Detroit and I had a wonderful time with the ladies. What a blessing it was to meet Gail McKennedy. Wilma couldn't make it. Wilma Hayes, beautiful soul, but she couldn't. But I'm gonna find a way for us to meet. And Joanne Clark and Barbara Pritchard, they couldn't make it as well. Some of them don't. They don't drive, and I don't want to be out late. So Barbara Pritchard has been a big supporter of the show, and I'm gonna make a special trip down there to do something with these ladies because I didn't want to be that close and not be able to dine with them. But Ella Satterfield, Gail McKennedy, and Mary Williams. Boy, did we have a time. We had a time. Those women ministered to one another. It was just beautiful, y'all. And I thank God for the fellowship of the saints, the videos. I'm getting ready to start editing my apostolic journey on this weekend. It's going to take me several days to do it. Wouldn't it be nice if next week I can play it for movie night? Wouldn't that be nice? So I'm not going to promise nothing, but I'm going to start editing it every day. Do you ever see the movie Cotton Picking Things, Slavery? No, I have not. Maybe you can send me that link in my email. I'd like to see it. So God, we thank you for your presence, your blood, and your love. Thank you for the people who are here. We thank you for the memory. Some of the memories is bad. But we learn from our history so that we won't repeat it. Teach it to our children so they'll understand, because you told the children of Israel to remember. And so we remember too, so not that we are angry, but that we are careful. So thank you for the memory, the experience. Our parents went through it, our grandparents, great-great-grandparents went through it. We're sad that they did, but because we can remember it now, we know what happened, we are better today from their fight. Help us, God, stay focused and to build up our own children and ourselves. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, and that's what we're doing here. Help us to be reminded of that. So we love you. And we'll give your name the praise in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Okay, I don't think so. So yeah, I'll be editing the movie for the next few days, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna make you cry. It's gonna make you laugh. It's gonna be good. All right, I'll see y'all tonight on Patreon.com. Sirwalterj Show. Patreon.com. Sirwalterj Show. See you in the upper room upper room, and everything else I wasn't able to do for the past week or two. Pray for Deatrice Carter. She called me today, and her auntie passed. Was it today or last night? Auntie was 94, I think it is. As y'all know, she lost her mother a few weeks ago, and her auntie was her mother's sister, so all of the 8 are gone. Pray for my sister, Deatrice Carter. She belongs to us. We love y'all. Take care. Immigration has always been a problem in America.
You're poor.
Who did it start with? The Native Americans. You dig, you will find the bones of slaves. Racism was and is the fabric, the foundation, the ground that we walk on. African Americans got here because, somebody came over to the house and grabbed us, and said, listen, I want you to work for me for free. And we were sold by our own people. Y'all know the history. Some of the history books are saying that slavery was needed because we were savages. And there are those over in the white evangelical community who are saying that if it wasn't for the white man, that Christianity would not have been inside of us. We would know who Jesus Christ is because the gospel was spread starting here in America.
Perhaps people who had no other opportunity, working for a gentle, caring, loving master was the best of all possible worlds.
It's really sad.
The 4 Women That Men Desire by Sirwalterj Jones is a women's guide to men. The authors endeavor to expose men fundamentally with his perspective on the types of women that men truly desire. He has meticulously penned a brilliant and controversial read, bold in its assertion that all women fall into one of 4 categories. Girl A, the side chick. Girl B, the mistress. Girl C, his soulmate. Or Girl D, his fatal attraction. And when a woman walks into a room, her category is showing. The 4 Women That Men Desire is funny, informative, and enlightening. It is a quick read and a must-have for your library. Head over to Amazon.com for your copy.